I believe that Tongans have a very bad way of delivering what they're trying to say.
Yeah.
So they're trying to teach us, but the way they say it is very like, why did you have to say it that way? Or why are you saying it that way? So, and we had an incident last year, and my brother was telling my parents, like, you can't tell Mona to do this if they don't see you doing it. If you know, so they were like coming on me with like living the healthy lifestyle, because I was just living my best life with McDonald's and whatever fast food was around me, and them throwing shade on like my weight and how I look, and that's probably why I'm not married and no one wants me.
Oh,
fat. Here comes a fat shaming, and I'm like, oh Lord. I was like, whatever. I just through one ear out the other. And then my brother had a talk with them and saying, if you want Mona to start eating healthy and stop eating all this crap, then you guys should start. That's something you guys should do, and I feel like that's the same concept where you're being reciprocal. Like, you're asking us, what do we want to eat? We say McDonald's, and they're like, okay, here's money, go get it. But then yet you're yelling at us for being unhealthy and looking the way we are. Like, make it make sense. Why would you cook us some food then? Or I don't know, we'll buy groceries where we can cook, but whatever. That's like the same thing, if you see your parents do it, and it's just come a long way. We're a year later and our family's doing a lot better healthy wise.
All right, we are live. We are live, y'all. What's up, everybody?
What up?
Welcome to another episode of the Kava Club podcast, where we share conversations, experiences, apply knowledge, and stories to promote happiness, love, success. When harmonized, complete balance completes the circle of life. You guys already know my name is Will. I'm the host of this show. If you guys watching this for the first time, hey, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Please show some love and support. Show some offer. Like and subscribe to my channel. For everybody that's been watching my videos, been subscribing, been sending me so much positive feedback. Thank you so much for all you guys that show the love, keeps the fire going, keeps that vela, the Tongan vela. It's the inspiration to keep doing what I do. But I'm very excited today. I am excited today, y'all. I have a very special guest. Very special guest. What? I have a very special guest today. She's one of our Polynesian sisters, all the way from Hawaii. It took me a long time to get her. We went back and forth a little bit. I was left unread a couple of times, but
damn, don't expose me like that.
She ghosted me a couple of times, but hey, we're here. Everything happens for a reason, but I'm excited she's here today and to join me on the show. And so I'll say to her directly, thank you so much. I'm very grateful for this opportunity to be here and share your life with everybody out there. But like I said, I'll let her introduce herself real quick. So it's all you.
What's up, everyone? Aloha. I'm Leimoana. I'm from Hawaii, Maui, in Lahaina specifically. And before we start, I'd like to thank Will for this opportunity to share my story, I guess, if I have one. I don't know, hopefully. And I'm excited for this podcast. And yes, I do apologize for living on red. I was, never done a podcast before, an interview. I was kind of falling back, but here we are.
No apology needed. I know everybody's busy. You have your life, so I'll just joke. If I got that bit, just a joke. But like I said, thank you so much. I'm excited. But like I said, let's get right into it. Let's start the podcast.
Cool.
And I guess like the first question I'm gonna ask you. I know a lot of people don't know who you are. Can you give a quick synopsis of a background of your life story and how'd you grow up?
So I grew up in a small family. I was born in New Zealand and then moved to Hawaii actually when I was roughly 7 or 8. So that was back in 2002. I have two brothers, an older brother and a younger brother. So my mom's family is from New Zealand and then my dad's family is here in Hawaii. So that's how we ended up in Hawaii. But they both grew up in Tongan.
Okay. All right. So what's the most memorable experience that you had like growing up as a child that you felt like they had a big impact for you to be who you are today?
So growing up, especially, I feel like I took a lot from when I grew up in New Zealand with my mom's parents. Mm-hmm. Grew up very just strictly Tongan, speaking Tongan. So when I started kindergarten or when I started going to school, I did not know a lick of English. I was straight fob child going to school. But I think growing up, it was very rooted in me that to remember who I am and where I come from, especially by my grandpa. Shout out to my papa. And I'm very grateful because now I understand Tongan. I mean, I lost, my Tongan here and there because I came here to Hawaii. And then, yeah, so that's one memorable thing about growing up as a kid is being rooted in who I am as in a Tongan girl or in the culture.
Cool. I don't know a lot of women watch this, and I know one of the biggest topics that we always talk about is Polynesian women being raised traditionally by their parents. I know you said your parents raised you in the traditional Tongan way, but also learning how to adjust and being the modern woman in today's society. So can you talk about that growing up, learning about the Tongan culture, but also realizing the culture and society you live in and trying to live your normal life in Western society at the same time, trying to be to please their parents, but also trying to be yourself also at the same time.
It's very hard because you go to school here in the US and the States, and then you go home and it's a totally different environment. So they teach you this at home, and then when you go to school and then like people ask you questions or when they ask us why we do this, and then to them it's weird, but for us it's normal. And then to us, what they do is weird, but it's normal to us. So that was a struggle trying to find a balance of like what
do you have any specific things that that you saw that was a struggle for you to be, to just be a normal girl in America, but at the same time that may not be seen agreed upon based on the culture of what your parents think you should be as a woman, but in Western society that's normal?
A lot of it has to do with how strict my parents are. My friends will be going to the movies, especially like in middle school. They'll be like, oh, we're going to the movies, let's go. I'll ask my parents and they'll be like, you're a girl, stay home. So I never understood why they were always like, you're a girl, stay home. But here's my brother going out with his friends every Friday, Saturday, watching movies, playing volleyball at church or whatever. And it wasn't a problem for them. So that was one thing where my friends would be like, why is your parents always telling you to stay home? I'm like, I don't know, maybe because I'm a girl. And they're like, what do you mean because you're a girl? I was like, I don't know. That's just what they say. So I can't argue with them or else I'm going to get the broomstick or belt,
Yeah. And did you ask your parents? Did you ever ask your parents, like, why did I have to stay home?
They never gave me an explanation.
Oh, did you ever bring it up? Did you ever bring it up to them? Hey, my brothers are like going in and out. How come I can go? I can go. I can go out. Did you ever ask them that?
They're like, sit to pico out here. And I'm like, I'm not even gonna push it because like from here on out is not gonna be talking. So.
All right.
So I tried.
I'm gonna say, did you always stay home, or did you find a way to?
Let me just say, them rules taught me how to climb windows.
So you did.
Yeah, I developed some skills, learning how to take the louvers out the window and climbing out and being very quiet. So yes, I did go out, but not on my parents' terms.
So I want to ask you from your perspective, like I feel like for me, I have conversations with a lot of women, Polynesian women, and that's the thing. They always say like, we grew up in today's society, but of course they're raised in traditional way by the Polynesian parents. But they always say like they feel like those traditional ways may not work in today's society, and it's one of the reasons why it stops a lot of Polynesian men and women from growth. It's like because there's a lot of Polynesian girls out there, that want to do things, but that requires you to leave outside, go outside the house, all right, to further to whatever you want to do for your life. So did you ever have that experience where like, growing up and like you were staying home, but you're like, man, you felt like that there's things that you wanted to do and maybe that, did you ever feel like that would kind of hinder you or stop you from actually being the type of person you always wanted to be?
Yes. So I feel like throughout high school, I wasn't able to figure out, a lot of people don't figure out who they are or what they want to be in high school, but I feel like there was a time frame where it could have helped me to grow a lot faster to where I am today, but
Yeah.
because my parents were very strict and very closed-minded, and I don't blame them because that's
Yeah.
all they know, you know.
Yeah.
And so in high school, I would go play sports because that was my only way, you know. It was an
Yeah.
excuse to be out of the house, but
Yeah.
to them, it's something that they're okay with. So it
Yeah.
was that's all I knew was high school and basketball. I didn't know anything about like educational wise, you know.
Yeah.
Didn't care for that because I just wanted to be out of the house. So I feel that's what stopped or kind of slowed down what I wanted to do in life or to continue to find out who I am or want to be.
Yeah, you brought up a very good point. That our parents, that's all they know, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, I have conversations from a lot of Polynesians or friends, family. Especially the younger generation, because it's a constant battle between back and forth with their parents and a constant disagreement and never kind of like feeling like they're ever heard to express themselves, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, a lot of kids have like resentment towards their parents, which I've seen. I'm not saying that happens to all kids, but I've seen that happen with the lack of communication or the lack of relationship to develop a good, strong relationship. Where a lot of times kids will act on their own and never asking parents like their feedback. We're just like, we already know. We can't ask them to go to the party because we already know the answer.
Yes.
So
you just do it anyway.
We're just gonna go to the party. We're just gonna go to the party
and just come back and take the butt whooping.
Exactly. So I always feel like that that aspect, kind of like I do believe that as Polynesians, we do need some guidance and our parents, some guidance from our parents to give us like, information and teach us about real life. But because I feel like we don't have the open space to ask about real life situations, to ask about parties, ask about relationships, ask about dating, ask about sex, like whatever it is, we want to ask about certain things about life. But since we can't ask our parents because we already know the answer, we just go try it out. We'll figure. Yeah.
We'll learn on our own.
Yeah, I guess we'll learn
the hard way.
Exactly. So that's something that's always interested me. But for you personally, like, how was your relationship and how was your communication with your parents growing up, and also how did that relationship evolve over time as you got older and finally understanding, oh, that's just how my parents are, and I got to do something about it to kind of change something.
Right. So I didn't realize or come to an understanding with my parents until COVID. Shout out to COVID for all the times we've been spending time in the lockdown. Like we had no one else to talk to but our family.
Yeah.
So growing up, I would always butt heads with my mom, and she would always refer herself to me, with saying like, why can't you, like when I was 13, I was already taking care of my 3 younger siblings, and this is stuff that you should already know. But I mean, I don't have 3 younger siblings to take care of, so I can't live the life that you have and understand where you're coming from. So she was very much trying to just do her best to what she knows.
Mm-hmm.
And the immature self of me was just like, you don't know what you're talking about, just the thinking I know better, or like she doesn't understand me. So we're always just butting heads. She's always comparing me to herself and she just wants the best for me. And I understand that now. But that's where we went wrong, where there was a level of like, we weren't understanding. There was no communication. And whatever I said didn't register in her head, and whatever she said didn't register to me, because we're just so very different, and we're growing up and I'm being raised in a different time now.
Yeah.
So my dad, he grew up here in Hawaii, so he's a little more lenient on, because his parents are very strict, and he doesn't want us, me and my siblings, to go through what he went through. The fighting all the time, the lecturing, because my dad hates the lectures and he doesn't want to give us lectures. He just wants us to do the best we can and not stay out of trouble. So it was just very hard growing up, especially with my mom. So I'm a daddy's girl because I'm the only girl. So he's always in my corner. Like that's my main person. Like he's always in my corner when I'm right or wrong. Like he'll talk to me. So, but my mom is always like nagging, and she's always like, there's always some kind of disappointment because I'm doing something that she's never done in her life, and I can't live I had a young single adult time where I'm here to experience and go out and have friends, and she didn't have that. You know, she didn't have the time
Yeah.
to go hang out with her friends or go to the movies. They didn't even have movies back then. Like, what is
Yeah.
that? You know?
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of miscommunication and hard to understand each other.
Yeah, that's something I hear. That's a common story I always hear, common experience for all of us. You know, especially depending, you know, especially if your parents are very traditional, very cultured. You know, and that if you're a parent and you're watching this, hey, shout out to you. But like I said, but that's one thing I always had to tell a lot of parents. You know, because I always listen to. I've heard parents have conversations like, how come my son can't do this? How come my daughter can't do this? And of course, you know, probably if you like to compare our kids to other kids, how come you can't be like this girl? You know,
all the time.
You know, how come you can't be like this guy? Especially if you add religion to it. Also, if you're Mormon or you're whatever religion you are, you know, they always compare you to like that one girl in the church or the one guy in the church that looks perfect and do all the right things. But the one thing I always want to say, like, I'm glad you brought it up because that's something I need to express to everyone, that we all grow up in different times. And a lot of times, like, you can never teach somebody about an experience that you went through if they've never went through it. Right. It's like you, when you have a baby one day and trying to tell me how what it is to have a baby. I'm like, I can't. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't understand. I can't understand where you're coming from because
right.
I've never went through it. You know,
right.
As much as we try to, but that's why communication is key. Even though we could be two different people, two different experiences, we have to talk things out. But I feel like that's something that a lot of parents lack that. In their perspective to understand that. I know you grew up in Tonga. I know you grew up in the islands. I know it was hard. I know it was struggle. I know you barely made it to survive. But I grew up in America, so I didn't grow up in survival mode. I'm growing up in a society where everybody's thriving. Yes. So I feel like for me, my personal opinion, I want to open up to you and ask your opinion. That the one thing I always ask parents is communicate, and if you want them to understand something, then show it. You know, show it through some type of like one thing I always say, like, if you want to show your son how to like work ethic because you grew up in Tonga, you work hard in Uta, in the bush, you grew up a lot of, you grew talo, you were a farmer, and you want to show that work ethic to your kids. You can't just tell your kids like work hard.
yeah.
All right, work hard. But also want to ask you this, because this is something I see a lot of parents do, is if you want to preach something to your kid, but you have to make sure you exemplify that behavior.
Yeah.
So oftentimes I see a lot of parents like tell you, especially when it comes. I guess the biggest thing that we struggle, that the biggest thing like nowadays in 2021, kids, we're drinking, doing drugs and doing all these things, having fun, social life, and partying, right? Yeah. But a lot of times I see a lot of parents, they did that when they did growing up. All right. But then as kids, when we know that our parents did that growing up, but they're telling us to do something that we know that they did also, I feel like that's why like a lot of the misconnect, our parents are, well, you told me to do this, but I knew you grew up, you did this.
Like very hypocritical.
Yeah, exactly. So like what I feel like that also, because once you know somebody's a hypocrite, like you just lose, you kind of lose all respect of what their opinion and what they say. Is that?
Yes.
Do you feel like that happens a lot? I mean, I'm just asking, like, do you feel like that happens a lot? Where also I see all these parents preaching perfectionism from their daughter, preaching perfectionism for their son to be this, but as kids we just so confused because you preaching perfectionism, but then we go home like, parent, we see your imperfect version of our parents, but you want us to be perfect, and that can confuse the hell a lot of us, especially as Polynesians. Like, what's your thoughts on that?
It's just hard. So I mean, you grow up, especially if you grow up in two different sides of the family, like you have my mom's side who's Catholic and alcoholic, and then you have my dad's side who's straight out Mormons. So like we have these two different lifestyles and we're around both of it. So like how do we know what's right, what's wrong? And I come here to the Mormon side and they're like, drinking and smoking is bad. So then, in my head, like growing up, so I'm like, so does that make my mom's siblings bad people because they're drinking and smoking? And, it's just and To be honest, I I believe that Tongans have a very bad way of delivering what they're trying to say.
Yeah.
So they're trying to teach us, but the way they say it is very like, why did you have to say it that way? Or why are you saying it that way? So, and we had an incident last year, and my brother was telling my parents, like, you can't tell Mona to do this if they don't see you doing it. If you know, so they were like coming on me with like living the healthy lifestyle, because I was just living my best life with McDonald's and whatever fast food was around me, and them throwing shade on like my weight and how I look, and that's probably why I'm not married and no one wants me.
Oh,
fat. Here comes a fat shaman, and I'm like, oh Lord. I was like, whatever. I just through one ear out the other. And then my brother had a talk with them and saying, if you want Mona to start eating healthy and stop eating all this crap, then you guys should start. That's something you guys should do, and I feel like that's the same concept where you're being reciprocal. Like, you're asking us, what do we want to eat? We say McDonald's, and they're like, okay, here's money, go get it. But then yet you're yelling at us for being unhealthy and looking the way we are. Like, make it make sense. Why would you cook us some food then? Or I don't know, we'll buy groceries where we can cook, but whatever. That's like the same thing, if you see your parents do it, and it's just come a long way. We're a year later and our family's doing a lot better healthy wise. Choices.
No, that's fact. Yeah, like for me, I think there's I feel like that's the I feel like, me personally, I feel like that's the root issue of why kids can never number one, follow what our parents tell us, especially in modern society as we grow up now. And then and why I see a lot of kids just doing their own, because I always see a lot of parents, how come my kids doing this? How come my kids not doing this and not following my direction or not fulfilling the expectations, right? They has for us. As like, we can't fulfill something if we don't see it from you. Right. Right. This is how things work. It's like when you work at a job and the boss tells you be on time, and then the boss doesn't come on time. It's like, you're like, F you, boss. Like,
you tell us don't be on our phones, and then here you on your phone, like, why?
Yeah, exactly. So it's naturally like, we don't, when you see hypocrites. So I'm not calling every Polynesian hypocritical, but I'm just saying there are a lot of Polynesian parents out there that want their kids to be perfect. They want their kids to go every Sunday. They want their kids to be this perfect Polynesian. But which is number one is not reality, because no one's perfect. That's number one. All right. But they tell you to do one thing, but like everybody, either them or the family's not doing it. I feel like as Polynesian, we just gotta be honest and be real about about stuff. So like if I have a kid, one day, and then they ask me about drinking, I'm like, hey, I'll let them know, hey, I drank 2 years, and I'll tell them, no, I drank with my age, instead of, I'm letting them know, hey, if that's something you want to do, I'll give them some ground rules. Don't do it in my house, but if you ever do it outside, here are the things that you can do to pay attention for this. Don't do this, because it's gonna affect you, it's gonna harm you. Don't drink and drive. Don't make sure you pay attention to what kind of drinks you have, so nobody drops anything in your drink. Like, I'll actually teach them and show them, you know what I'm saying? Like, show them about it and let them kind of like, make their own decisions. But at the same time, still give them my boundaries as a parent, because I still have authority. They live under my roof. But I feel like, because that's why I see a lot of parents always say like, well, how come I drink always iffy marijuana, drinking and smoking? I was like, because you're not I feel like you're not teaching them anything. You're just like,
you're just telling without
exactly. Show an example. Like
what do you like? Help us understand. I really like, that's straight facts. And my mom, I feel, so a lot of my friends always like, why is your little brother always like coming to you, or something happens, calling me. And because I expressed to my brother, I talked to him like, I understand, it's hard for him to go to my mom, because my mom doesn't have the understanding of like how life is now. So when he comes to me, and I tell him, I said, hey, like, if you want to drink or smoke, it's your choice. You know how mom and dad feels about it, but it's totally up to you. But if you do, I need you to like give me your location, let me know who you're out with. I'm not gonna bash on you for doing what you want to do, but I need to understand, like, and need to know who you're with, where you're going, just so you're safe. And don't lie. Like, do not lie to me, because like if something happens, then what? You know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just laying out the rules and letting them understand that we still love them, and we're still here for them if they choose to do that. If they need help, cool, all for it. And I feel that's a huge area where parents lack, is helping their kids understand and teaching them and telling them that it's okay if you make mistakes, you know, and if you want to do this, it's okay. You're not a bad person. So
So that's I'm glad we had this topic. But that's something I always hear a lot of people when it comes to the relationship factor with the home law Polynesian parents. Like, everybody's watching this, you know. And like I said, I don't blame. Like I just want to say to everybody, I don't blame the parents, right? Because they grew up at different time. That's all they know.
That's just all they know.
All right, so that's all they know. So they're gonna offer us all they know, and so they don't understand. But I guess, like, as if you're a Polynesian kid right now, you have to like try to build some kind of communication, explain it to your parents. But if you're like, I feel like, but I just believe, like, be real. The more, like, we have to be real nowadays when it comes to life, and for a lot of Polynesian parents out there, they're not being honest. Like, you can't be a hypocrite. So
I feel like it's so hard for them to be real because they worry so much about what other people think.
Yeah, that's so exactly. Because I know that you also add that part, because Polynesian people, we like to move to loud all the time and gossip.
The struggle.
So because in their time, reputation, that's a big thing for them. To keep that family reputation. It doesn't, but in this time, like in this time, I guess in the islands, like. It was a small community, a group of people, and we're all the same, right?
Yes.
So like we kind of understand each other. So, and even though people still criticize, but we still understood each other. But when you go into a world now, we're like America, 300 million people, different races, different backgrounds.
Yes, different cultures.
Right? Different cultures, right? So now there's gonna be a lot of people. There's a lot of people. So now we grow up in a situation where that being different. If doing something different is no longer seen as something that's abnormal, right? In the Tongan culture, if you live in the islands, if you do something different, weird, that's not in line with the culture, the first thing people would do, stop talking about you, right? But we come here, in Western society, everybody's different. So doing something different is not really a abnormal thing. It's a normal thing in our culture to be different. Mm-hmm. Of course, there's still hate and judgment, but as kids, we grow up like we don't care about being different, because that's the culture that we grew up today. So we don't care about like what my auntie thinks of me. I don't care about what my uncle thinks of me. I don't care less.
Right.
I don't really care about my family. But them, family validation is important for them. People validation. But for me, growing up in this society, I have all my Black friends, Mexican friends, and we all talk about shit. I could give a shit. Who
cares? You don't pay your bills.
I know, exactly, right. And then it's funny, like sometimes I have conversations with my family, like, don't you care what this person? I'm like, no, I don't. I don't really care. I don't care. I don't care what anybody cares. I'm gonna do me, be me, and do the best for myself. And I think that mentality for them, like, they don't understand it. But I guess it just comes from. Let me just put my thing in the middle. They just don't understand that. So, but yeah, so. That was cool. That was a cool conversation. So, okay, you turned 18, became an adult. What happened next?
So I finished high school. I went back to New Zealand for roughly 4 months. Mm-hmm. They gave me the option of the graduation party or like go somewhere, and I was like, I'm out of here. Like, if you're giving me the opportunity to like go visit, peace out, man. Pay my ticket. So I went back home to New Zealand, spent time with my mom's family. And then I came back and then I served my mission. So I'm LDS, I'm Mormon.
Nice.
Yeah. Fun.
Return missionary?
Yes.
My little 5 feet go. Oh, we got a 5 feet go in here.
Don't do that like that.
We got a no, okay.
Yeah, so I went and served my mission. I served in Chicago, Illinois, in the Windy City. Loved Chicago. And then I came back home. And I think that's when everything hit the roof, where I come back home, they have these expectations for me because I'm a returned missionary and they expect me to be this person and to get married like within 6 months. And, it's crazy. That's crazy.
I know.
And and when I wasn't meeting these expectations, and then that's when I felt like, okay, if I'm such a bad return missionary, I might as well just live my life. So that's what I did. Started my mission, came home, and then I had all these expectations and all this hurry up and get married, or why aren't you married? Like that was like the main question that was hitting me. Like and be like, oh, still evaing around, and then I just started lying to everyone and be like, oh, he's coming next week, just so everyone leave me alone, So it comes next week, they're like, where is he? And I'm like, I don't know, he didn't show up, I guess, You just gotta, I just did things so everyone can stop asking me because it was getting very, very annoying. So I came home and that was like the rough 2 years of my life. And then I feel like those 2 years helped me be the person I am today. And that's where I learned and grew, where a lot of growth happened for me personally.
Oh yeah. So just want to say, that's what's up, your 2 years in mission. A lot of people, I was, that's for me, that's cool,
Let me just say, 2 years is a long time. Thank the Lord that girls only do 18 months.
Oh yeah, 18 months. I forgot. Yeah, 18 months
2
for
years,
girls.
I think I would have struggled. Came home early.
So yeah. Can you, I know there's a lot of Mormons that watch my channel, and I'm Mormon too. So okay. I have a lot of friends and family members that are Mormon. Can you talk about like serving the mission? Because I know that one of the topics conversation I hear a lot from kids our age, in our generation, is like, feeling like they have to go to serve a mission to feel validated by their family, feel validated to be accepted by their society or their religion, right? I have a conversation with a lot of kids that are like, you know what, I mean, like, they want to serve a mission because not because they want to, but because they feel like this is what pleases their family. And right. And that's, I know this is a conversation most people don't want to talk about, but this is a real topic. I hear from people. It
needs to be talked about.
Yeah, I actually hear where kids are like, man, I don't want to do this, but my family's pressuring me, and they're just so depressed. And I've heard stories of people I know personally that went on a mission, that they end up coming back home, and then of course when they come back home, it's even worse because people are now judging them, seeing them right. as a failure, right. and they didn't meet the expectation of everybody else. So there's a lot of conversations pushing out there, like they're like, you know what, me personally, I feel like, look, serving the mission, I do see value. Serving the mission, give your life to God, and serving the community. Hey, that's a beautiful thing. We should all find. Doesn't matter what you do. We should all find our way to like give back our life, to add value to people, to serve God. I'm a big. I do believe in God, and I believe in letting Him, living a life for Him, and being a good person. But I don't feel like, me personally, I don't feel like that your life is defined or validated based on going on the mission. You can still be a great person, a great Mormon,
right?
Not serving a mission, and you can still be a great Mormon, a great person serving a mission. But sometimes people are in our families make it seem like this, if you don't do this, you will never be great. You will never be your life is over if you don't go serve a mission. Or a lot of kids let that define them. So can you talk about that for you personally? Your intentions and why you serve your own mission, because just to kind of give feedback to all those kids right now that's watching this.
Right. And I'm gonna be straight up real, when we went, I think it's just a lot of people at my ward, at church, always asking, when are you going? Or did you start your papers yet? And saying, Mana Pepa, did you turn it in yet? When are we leaving? Yeah. It was just all the questions. And then it got to, even my parents are like, oh, so when are you leaving? You're going to serve a mission,
Yeah.
They really They wanted me so bad to go on a mission, but they didn't force it upon me as much as they do on the boys. And because I feel, I don't know, so I just did it because it was just getting very like, oh, like leave me alone, all these questions is just wondering like, when am I gonna go? So honestly, I first started off just going just to go so everyone can just leave me alone.
Gotcha.
And did I want to go on my own? Definitely. I wanted to go. That was no questions. I was going to go, but I wanted to go on my own time. And that didn't happen because like just the pressure is like so much pressure from these people. And so I was just like, whatever, I'm just going to do it so I can get it over with. It was more so like, let me just check it off the list so everyone can leave me alone.
Yeah.
And it started off that way, and I went and I struggled like the first 3 months of my mission. Like, hated it. Oh no, there was no Polynesians around. I love my Polynesian people, so it was like a culture shock. It was cold. There was no sun. I was getting depressed, and I was like, "Where is the sun?" Then later, I was like, you know what? I decided to do this. I'm gonna tough it out and just get as much as I can from it, positive, like thinking positive. And I think that's what changed is when I was just like, oh, I hate being here. The first 3 months, I was like, I want to go home. Like I was just constantly thinking about home and constantly like how I hated it. And then one day I was just like, stuff it, like whatever. I'm here. Like, let me just live it out, have the best time I can, do the best I can. Do whatever, the best to my ability. And then I learned to love it. I learned to love the people. I learned to love the culture. I learned just love talking to people and, teaching people about what I know, so it turns out a lot, like that a lot, a lot of, I see it, and I'm not saying everyone, but a lot of people that I'm around or grew up with, their parents are just like, they're like pressuring their kids to go. And it comes from not understanding who your kids are. Not understanding who they are personally. Everyone, yes, the mission is there, and it's an opportunity that I would encourage people to go on, to do if that's something that they would like to do. But that's just my experience with it. It started off with not wanting to go, and I only went because of the pressure, and then I ended up loving it, and I'm grateful for it.
Yeah.
So,
well, no, that it's funny. That's something I see all the time, and I've the one thing I guess the one thing I can say is like if you have to understand people when you force people to do something they don't really want to do, that's always going to be a struggle, and and I understand like I guess we could talk about that later because we're going to talk about how religion ties to the difference between religion and our life and how we tie certain things. But yeah, I feel like that's something I don't know if people ever look into it, but I know people personally that that struggle with that, and then they go serve a mission and it doesn't work out. But I do believe but the thing is I loved how you said that you went on a mission and then over time you learn something to learn to be positive. So I just don't want to make it seem like I'm a I don't know, a lot of Mormons are like, this guy trying to like bring down the church. No, look, I'm not trying to bring down the church. I'm not gonna lie, I'm inactive. I haven't been at church in a while. I'm gonna keep it real.
Cheers.
I'm on my little journey right now. I'm doing my thing. But like I said, I just feel like this is my personal opinion. I feel like that when we should always take care of the individual person besides everything else. And I feel like sometimes people value the religion, family, society, things, but we forget that person is a human being, and that person has their own feelings. That person is, it's gonna be the one going through that mission. They're the ones that have to go through that mission and experience those things. And if things work out great, then things are gonna be great, and then they're gonna have a lot of things they're gonna take away from that mission. But if things don't work out, then they have to deal with it. A lot of people don't think about it. They always think about the gain of the church, the gain of the parents knowing that the reputation. Oh, I have a kid that went on a mission. So right. So everybody is worried about their own gain, but actually, what does that person gain? What nobody's like taking the time to worry about this person, like what they're gonna go through. Because if it works out, great. I want everything to work out. But what if it doesn't work out? you're not gonna deal with that person's
Right.
reality when they come back home and everybody's judging and criticizing them and thinking that they're a failure, you know. So like that person's, I feel like people, sometimes we forget that person is the one that's gonna go through it, and I feel like we need to be more open and empathetic, understanding of that person's needs instead of the religious needs, the church's needs, the family's needs. What is like you said, the kid? What does the kid? What does the kid need? And you mentioned earlier, like we don't really care about the individual, that person, but we more focus. I know the Tongans are in the Polynesian culture, we're putting our needs first before the needs of the individual. And I just want people to take a look at that. Next time you want somebody to do something, ask yourself, is this something for me or is this something
for them?
For them, because I believe if you truly love somebody, you not only love yourself, but also you also love them what they want also as well. And I feel like that's where the misconnect happens, and that's why a lot of people go on the mission and struggle on a mission. Instead of being a great thing for their life, it ends up being something that kind of doesn't, it makes it a struggle for their life. But yes, I want to say everybody out there that even if you went on a mission and you came back home early, something happened, just want to show some love to you. Hey, it's all good. You still got your life is ahead of you. Don't think one situation or one person or one experience in our life defines our life. Just understand that life is a journey. Sometimes, when you go through a journey, sometimes you go through ups and downs, and you're just going through a little down moment. But don't forget, it's gonna bounce back up. So I just want to talk to all those kids out there that's going through this right now, and also the parents, especially those parents that never served a mission. Like, I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna keep it honest. You need to serve a mission. I'm just like, we just talk about being hypocrite. I'm just being honest.
That's crazy.
I'm gonna keep it real. Like, you know what I'm saying? You never served a mission. Like, get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I'm just keeping it real.
That's crazy.
I'm gonna keep it. If you serve a mission, okay, I got it. You know the experience. You've been there, right?
Right.
We're talking about like being honest. But if you never serve a mission, you never lived like that Mormon missionary life your whole life, and all of a sudden you became all of a sudden you're like a virtue, parental virtue, or and now virtue matters to you.
Oh man!
And now but you never lived that whole life as a kid, and now you want to do that as a parent and force that upon a kid. I'm just saying, check yourself. I'll give it real. Like, check yourself. Be honest. And just. But like I said, I'm not saying missions are bad, or I'm saying no missions are bad. I believe it's a great tool that God opportunity that God gives us, right? And then if you want to take advantage of the opportunity, great. But just like our opportunities, like I said, it comes from like I feel like for me personally, like if you want to do something, it also come from the heart. I always tell people, if you're gonna help me because you want to help me. If you don't, what I'm saying, I don't want to. You ever seen somebody like want to do something for you, but like you can see it's half-assed.
Let me just say that's a whole nother conversation because we see too much of that.
I'm just
don't
saying,
be doing something with an expectation. Like I do this for you, so now you do it. No, you do it out of your heart.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I was saying, if you don't want to do it for me, I don't need it. I don't want it. Like, right. I don't want. It's all good. That's what I'm saying. The same thing. Like, we should, I feel like as kids, if they want to serve a mission and be great, then let them do it because they're gonna get the blessings from it, right? Yeah. But if they don't want to do it, and you're gonna force them, then like I said, they have to live with that reality, and you're not. So I just want people to like, listen to their kids and be and value them a lot more than what you want. So I guess that's what I want to say. Anything want to add to that before we move on?
Nope. Covered whatever we could.
All right, for sure. So okay, so I do want to talk about when you came back from your mission. It's funny when you said that. You came back from your mission. Now you're the return missionary. Everybody, I know I have a lot of missionary friends, and they always talk about that, right? First, everybody puts you in a pedestal. You're at that 5 feet down now. You have to live that perfect life. If you get that perfect lady or and man, and also the dating, right? They want you to date ASAP. They
wanted to get married so quick.
They want you to get married ASAP. And, I see that also. A lot of Mormons come back home and, get married within the first 6 weeks, even less than that, some of them weeks. But hey, if you find love, do your thing, and like you say, make your own choices in life. But I want to ask you, for you personally, like I do know some people that they married somebody early, and then years later it didn't work out because they realized, oh, okay, it was just they just fell in the moment, and then they realized that this person wasn't really like compatible or whatever. Oh, they weren't ready. A lot of guys and girls get married early, and then realize, oh shoot, like think of, because a lot of the people that go on a mission, when they come back to like 18, 19, 20, 21.
Yeah.
For me, like I feel like it's like, for me personally, I feel like when it comes to like we have things that I call like big decisions, either small decisions, big decisions. Choosing a life partner, that's a big decision. Or that's somebody you're gonna spend your whole life with. All right.
Yeah.
So that is a big decision. I feel like when it comes to making a decision, that takes time. You can't put a time limit on somebody when it comes to choosing their wife or their husband. Because that's because once you marry, like there's no, like, I mean, of course you get divorced, but I mean, being personally, it's like in the Tongan culture, when you marry somebody, that's for life. I know. And also when you marry somebody, then there's more responsibility, getting a house, having a job.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like they're just like, it's just get married and then figure it out along the way.
So toxic.
just don't worry about love. Just attraction. Just get married and figure it out later.
You'll learn to love them.
Yeah. And then for a lot of couples, like once the honeymoon phase is over, everything dies down and reality sets in. They're like, oh, wow, it's yeah. So so for you personally, like, can you talk about how you like dealt with that, and what did you do for yourself personally? And I know you mentioned you were lying to her. I found that funny. Hey, tomorrow it's coming.
I'm like, they're like, when's the big day? And I'm like, in 6 months I'll send out the invitations. Like serious, like face. And they're like, oh, okay, bye. Leave me alone.
And can you talk about that a little bit more deeper? I want to interest in, because I guess I feel like that's something that a lot of Mormons, especially return Russians, come through, especially when it comes to like adjusting to real life and coming back to reality.
So coming back from the mission, man, it was like the best thing ever, because shout out to all the people that served the mission, even if it was the full time 2 months, 3 months, because it's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do. It's very hard. You're leaving your family and you're staying this. You're making this huge commitment as serving the Lord, and all these rules that are there, and it's crazy. So just shout out to those that tried and failed, and you learned from it, and shout out to those that tried and finished it. Like, hold that to your heart, because the mission is not for everybody. So just shout out to everyone that did serve a mission, because hold that to your heart. Be proud of it. Like, it's okay to be proud of it. And even when you come home and you fail, you complete your time and you fail, it's okay, So when I came back home, it was hard, because this was my first time living out of Hawaii for a long period of time. And just the amount of opportunities that I saw, I'm like this little island girl in this huge city, beautiful city, and talking to so many people every day, and their life, and learning how they're living. Some people don't have a family and they're just living how they are. So coming home, and then I just see everyone that's here at home, and it's like nothing changed.
Yeah.
Coming back home, it's just everyone is still the same. Everyone's doing just the same thing. Nothing, no growth, no nothing. It's just they're just very stuck in this way. And I'm not saying that it's a bad way that everyone is stuck in this way. Yeah. It's just, to me, for someone that saw this new life that I want to experience, and then coming here, and it's like, you can't get that same experience here on the island that you can get out in the different states like Chicago, New York, or California, or whatever it is. You just come home and you have this growth within yourself, and you're learning who you are. You come home, and then that growth just stops. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure there's like a lot of people out there that came home and there was like they're stuck at home, and there's no growth, because you grow like this much out when you're on your mission, you come back and then you're stuck and there's no room to grow because it's not the same here at home. And it was hard. It was hard because it's like, I come home and now I'm living with my parents again. So then here we go again. I got somebody telling me what to do when I was out in Chicago. Just I didn't have anyone monitoring me like 24/7, like these people here, my grandparents, They're always like, where are you going? Who are you going with? Oh, what time are you coming home? It was just very, very, I don't know what the word is, but it was just like frustrating. It's like, oh, like, why are you always asking where I'm going, who I'm with, So coming home to that was hard. And I just hated it. I just hated being home. And even when I would go out with my friends would hit me up, and then they're like, oh, let's go out, we'll go out to like these bars out here. And because I knew I just came back from a mission and I'm ready, like,
missionary mode. It's in missionary mode.
Missionary mode, and I'm just like, crap, I don't want to do any, like, so I was a loyal, and I was the best DD ever. I mean, you can ask all my friends, like, when it came to the weekend, and it got to the point where they were like, come on, Moana, and I'm like, no, you guys go, like, because I have this like image to keep, I don't want to disappoint my parents because I'm a returned missionary now. So they were just like, come on, let's go, like, it'll be fun, just be our DD. And I give in because then I have this thought where I'm like, they asked me to be DD, and if they go out and they get into an accident, then I'm gonna blame myself because I'm like, crap, they asked me to be their driver. So then here we go, our return missionary being DD up in the bars, and then who knows, the bouncers are of course polys. And then they'll be like, Juana, what are you doing here? And I just feel very like judged. They're like, no, not you. And I'm just like, guys, I'm DD, I promise.
Another one, eh?
And then be like, oh, you're coming to church tomorrow. I'm like, I'll be there. It's just so hard. And so that was just, it's just, and then I come home and my parents are like, where were you? Our return missionaries are not supposed to be over there. Return missionaries don't come at 3 a.m. in the morning, and it got to the point where I had to lie to my parents. And you know how embarrassing it is, a 22-year-old lying to their parents? My friends are like, oh, here goes Mona checking in. Yes, I gotta check in. What? Like, it's hard because then you have your social life, and then you have your life at home, and it's just hard keeping up with the image, and it gets very stressful. And I've talked to people, my family members and friends, where they're like, man, it's so hard because they expect me to, and then the shade comes in, like, how do you expect you want to find someone at the bar and marry them? It's like, golly, like, hanging out with some friends. And I think a lot of it was they were afraid that I was going to fall into like going back to the drinking and smoking, and I have, and I'm still living that life now. And that's what they were afraid of, and it happened, and they're just worried about, like, because my mom was like Palestinian Ofa, and then she has this, and she's like, I'm out here in the front teaching these ladies, and then my daughter's over there at the bar or hung over in the back of the chapel, just like, how are they going to look at me? And that's very hard because then, like, my choice is my choice. It shouldn't affect my parents or whatever. And it is what it is. People are going to say things. And that's when it comes into, who cares what people say, who cares what they think or what they say about you, mom? It's okay. Like, and it's just because she grew up in that very, like, what is everyone going to say? Where she grew up where she cares what people think. Because her mom cares what people think. So it's just hard keeping up with the image, keeping up with the RM title, It's something it's stressful, and it gets people into a depression mode and don't want to do anything, no motivation to be better. So that's like the life after the mission, where everyone has this image where you're supposed to get married, and then you got parents calling, trying to set you up on a blind date. I'm like, okay. But you don't want to be rude and feel like a stuck up girl, so you just do it anyway just to be nice,
Oh, so you went on a lot of blind dates?
Not a lot, thank goodness.
To some?
Just some, but that was still very uncomfortable. So
yeah.
But you know, you can't. My parents was like, be nice. You know, you just gotta be nice. Do what your parents say.
Yeah. Did you meet any candidates or like you saw like, okay, there's potential or no? There was no potential.
No. I mean, great people. I mean, ups to you for coming to my parents. Like, ups to you, you know. But I mean, we're in the 20th century. You couldn't even like hit me up and be like, hey, by the way.
They asked your parents. Oh, dang.
I've never met this before, but I mean,
okay.
I guess that's what they do back in the day. You come to the parents, and then you just. I'm like, we got social media for a reason, dude. At least be like, hey, I'm gonna ask your parents, and be like, whatever. You know, I give props to those people that just go straight to the parents. But that's not how I roll.
No. I know you were talking about how you came back from your mission, and it was hard because you came back from your mission. Everything's the same, right? Mm-hmm. Everything's the same. And then I don't know. This is my perspective of how I see things. I feel like when it comes to like our church, you know, I feel like they overvalue. I want to be careful with my words.
Right. It's so hard to say. You don't know what to say on here because people are going to be like,
No. So I make it seem like they make the mission, serving a mission is like your pinnacle in life.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's the problem for a lot of kids. Like, because of that's how they portray the mission. Hey, like portraying the mission is like the highest point or pinnacle that you can ever achieve as a Mormon or as an individual. Mm-hmm. And then what happens is when somebody goes and then finally serves a mission, you know, that's like to them, okay, this is the pinnacle of what my life's supposed to be. This is the pinnacle of what being a Mormon. And then you finally come back to home in reality and go back to that reality. When reality sits in, you're like, oh, wow, like, well, now what? You know, now what? You know, you just experienced like the pinnacle of your life, especially because it is a great experience.
Now it's temple marriage.
Right. I mean, it's a good experience based on stories I hear from a lot of people. They travel the world. You go spread the gospel. Like you have like a role, like a purpose, right? You have a purpose. You know, it gave you a purpose to go do great things, and then now you come back to home. Everybody's still doing the same shit.
Yep.
And you just came from a role of like being a difference maker in the world, make an impact in the world, and now you're coming back to reality, and then and you're just at home now. So I feel like that's what I feel like sometimes. I feel like maybe we should like when they say like serve a mission, it's part of your journey, but this is not the end. This is not the pinnacle of your life. When you come back, this is just part of your journey of being an individual, but this is not your pinnacle of your life. When you come back, that's where the real journey begins. That's when the real. I always hear a lot of missionaries coming back from your mission. That's when the real mission starts.
Yes,
that's something I always hear. And you know, the mission doesn't start when you go on a mission. The real mission, your real mission in life, that God has for you, for your specific life, that starts when you come back. And I feel like that's something. Maybe that's something we can try to like tell the kids a lot more. So when they come back so they're not expected to come back from the mission, and like, so when they come up to the mission, they're really excited to the next phase of their life. Okay, I've done my mission, you know, that's just a part of my journey, but my real mission, my real purpose in life was what I do when I come back. So that way there's no drop. You know, when you smoke, you have to, for the first time you achieve that high.
Yes.
Right. You achieve that high, and then you can never go back to that first original high.
Yeah.
All right. But so I mean, I don't sound like an addict right now, but I mean, I've smoked and drink before, but I'm just saying, like, you know, we achieved that high, but then now we're trying to get back to the high. But the reality is that's why a lot of people feel like that, you know, that going on the mission is that high, is just as far as you go in life. But that's not the reality is no, that's just a part of your journey in life. Mm-hmm. And then the real work is when you come back. The real mission is when you come back, and that's the real purpose is when you come back and rebuild and whatever you want to do for your life. That's why I feel a lot of kids come back home and, oh man, like I just
like what now?
What now? Like, I just achieved the goal, the pinnacle of my life, and I guess time to drink, y'all.
Like there's more. Like that's not just where it
exactly.
is, like...
Exactly. Does that make sense? I don't know. Does that make sense to you?
I know what you're getting.
Yeah. So like, if you tell the kids that when you come back, that's where the real mission starts.
Right.
They'll come back and start working. Okay, I got back home. Let's figure out life. I'm ready to go keep going. come back home and think you just did what you had to do, and you're just looking around. And of course, you already know that if you don't have nothing else to do, you're just gonna go with the flow what everybody else is doing.
Right.
You just all my friends partying, turning up. I guess I'm just gonna turn up like everybody else.
Turn up
too. Right. So yeah, that's up there. So, yeah, I just wanted to say that. Yeah, like for everybody out there that's watching this, like I said, this is my personal experience. When we were born, we all have a purpose that God gave us. And like I said, the things that we go through in life, with our parents, family, society, that's just part of our purpose. But our true purpose is that answer is only found out by you.
Yeah.
And, the church doesn't know your purpose in life. Parents don't know your purpose in life. People don't know your purpose in life. The only one that knows purpose in life is God. And then you have to, of course, through Him, you have to ask yourself, what do I want to do? What I should do for my life? How can I make an impact? And I feel like that's something we need to express more, express more to kids, to out there, for everybody out there. Doesn't matter whether you're part of the church or not. I'm just saying for all people, because I know every culture, every religion, doesn't matter what religion you have, there's always expectations. Being Catholic, being Mormon, being Christian, whatever. There's always, every church has their own expectation they put on people, but sometimes a lot of people, I do see a lot of times they make it seem like that's the pinnacle of what you need to achieve, but I feel like that's not the case. And for everybody out there, the only we all as an individual, we know how far we can go. We know our purpose. We know what to do, and then we gotta act upon that. So, just wanted to say that to everybody out there and shout them. Like I said, I still have love for all my Mormons out there, my ward.
You're not bad people. I mean, you make choices.
Like I said, I love all people, and like I said, I still love my ward, even though I haven't been back. But I'm just speaking from what I see, experiences of things I see that people don't want to talk about, but it's actually real. It's happening. All right. So for you, so you came back, so you came back from your mission, trying to readjust back to life, back to real life. So. Did you ever go through a moment when you realize, okay, I really need to start figuring out what I want to do? All right. I feel like every person that goes to that stage, okay, because you come back from the mission, everybody's trying to put you in this pedestal. This is not what I want. It's not working for me. You go through your little phase. Everybody goes through that phase, but then eventually, you start to adjust back to reality. You kind of find yourself a little bit and start talking to yourself, asking yourself what I want. So can you talk about that the moment of your life that you feel like, okay, what does Moana want to do? What do I like? You talk about self-worth and being an individual person. And when did you start having that conversation for you?
It was, I think it was 2019.
Yeah.
2019. So 2019. So I came home 2017, and then halfway through 2007. So for a year and a half, I was in that stage where I had to keep this image, image. And then I got over it, and I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
So in 2019, I started working. I was busting my butt, because I'm the only girl. Yeah. So I don't have sisters to help me with whatever it is that I need to fulfill here at home, because in the culture, it's like the girl is the one that helps the parents or stay home, and they put this on me. They're like, you don't care what your brothers do, they're gonna go out and get married, and then they're gonna go with their families. Like, you're the only one that's gonna be here to take care of us. And so I was like, here we go. Gosh, we'll move on from one thing to another. Let's go. I'm like, so they have this where it's like, you're the only girl, you're the only one that can help us. So then I started, I was already working, but then I added like other jobs. I was working 2-3 jobs, working, and I was like saving up, and then came to summertime, and then I was like, I'm miserable. I hate it here. Yeah. I'm just like, I love my parents, and I want to do everything that I can to help them, but like, I'm just like out of it. I'm emotionally drained. I'm like mentally drained, and it doesn't help that I live with my grandparents as well. They're getting older and they get grumpier and they're more demanding. You got to take them to how many appointments, and half of the appointments was not even needed. They just wanted to go to the appointments and visit the doctor for the free. And then you're just like, it's just very like draining. So then I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to Utah. I'm out. But it's not a thing for my parents for me to move, just up and move, you know, it's
Yeah.
not. So what I did, I told them I was going to general conference, and so when it came, so I was stacking up, and then came like a month before, a couple of weeks before general conference, I told them, hey, I'm going to general conference. They're like, when are you coming back? And then I said, oh, I'm coming back in next week. But they didn't know that I put my 2 weeks in for my jobs already. I already found a spot. You know, my cousin had an extra room in his place, so then like I took it. I already found a job, so I had interviews over the phone. So by the time I land, I'm ready to go. I got a job. I got a spot plate. You know. So then I got there and I got settled, and then my parents calling me like, hey, when are you coming? I said, Wednesday. So like, you know, there's a weekend of general conference, and then Monday hits and they're like, when are you coming home? I'm like, Wednesday. And they're like, oh, okay. And then Wednesday came, they're like, what time's your flight? And I said, I don't know, I extended it. So like, I'm over here lying and like telling my parents like, and then they're like, did you? And for some reason, my grandma knew. My grandma's like, you're gonna go and you're not gonna come back? And I'm like, no, I'm coming back. And then she would just start crying and shit. For some reason, she already knew. I don't know what voodoo crap she was on, but she just knew.
That's the OG. That's the OG.
I know.
Soul.
I was like, please don't say anything to my parents. But so I went, and then like Thursday, Friday came, and they were calling, and I was working. So they're calling, and then I answered it, and they're like, how come you're answering your phone? I was like, sorry, I just got off work. And they're like, work?
Yeah.
They're like, where are you working? And I was like, oh, I work at UPS. And they're like, what? And I said, oh, I found a job here. They're like, so does that mean you're not coming back? And I'm like, no. Like, no, I'm just gonna stay here for now. And then it wasn't an easy thing for my mom to hear, because she's like, you're the only one that can help me at home.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't be home. Like, you know, I just needed to like get back, because I wasn't there. I wasn't mentally there. So I just needed space to myself. I needed time to myself to figure out what do I really want to do. So I was in Utah, living in Utah, just up and left, and like no one knew except for my little brother and my coworkers. That's it.
Yeah.
No one knew, and my cousin that dropped me off to the airport.
Yeah.
So then everyone was calling me like, "Where are you coming?" I was like, "No, I live here." And I was like, "What the heck?"
Yeah.
And then even when I was in Utah, very few people knew that I was in Utah. My mom's first cousin is there. My grandpa's brother is there. Like, there's family there, but I didn't feel like talking to them. I didn't feel like hanging out with people. You know, like I had my cousin that was picking me up all the time. We're hanging out with other people. I just didn't feel like, I just needed time for myself to figure out what I wanted to do. So it was like the best 3-4 months of my life. Did I last out there? No, because I had to come back home. But it was a time that I needed to like check into reality and see what I wanted to do for myself. So then I had to come home because my mom got sick, and Heavenly Father heard her prayers more than mine, because here I am back at home. That's what happens when you got a faithful, God-fearing mother. And she was just praying every day for me to come back home. And she's like, I don't know how she's gonna come home, but I just need her home. And then she got sick. And she's like, I don't know if this is Heavenly Father's way of like helping you come home, because that's all I needed. I needed you here. I was like, man, that's crazy, Mom. You don't want me to grow, but that's whatever. If this is Heavenly Father, you know, if this is God's way of telling me to come back home, like I had that time to myself. So then, so I came home, and then I figured out what I wanted to do, and COVID hit literally 3 weeks later, which is crazy, because I came home and I was supposed to leave a week later, and then like this COVID thing went crazy, and I was like, okay, I might as well just stay. So I'm back home. And I figured out what I wanted to do.
So I want to ask you, you know, I feel like for everybody out there, I feel like because I always talk to a lot of Polynesians, you know, we all have we all go through our things that we go through as Polynesians, but I guess one of the biggest things that when I talk to other Polynesians, especially the ones that kind of like figure out what they wanted to do, they've always, or it doesn't matter Polynesia, or just people in general, you know, you always have to take time to for yourself. At some part of your life, your journey, like you have to take time for yourself. You know, for some people, you know, they like you have to leave the state. You know, for some people they leave the country. For some people they just go to a different city. But for some people, like they just close. You know, they're just like close everyone off, and then they just want to just focus their time on themselves. And I feel like it's a healthy. Especially if you go into a lot of struggle internally. Mm-hmm. I feel like it is healthy for you to take some time and kind of like take care of yourself, because at the end of the day, like the only person that can take care of you is you. You know, right. The only person that's going to love you is you. The only person that can really understand you is you. Mm-hmm. And we all need that time to like go through like soul search or figure out who we are, because if you like you said, you try to be the person everybody wanted you to be, but then that world started to crack, that pressure, that I guess that burden, right? Just got heavier and heavier and heavier. And then, and then you just need that time off to kind of let things go. So, but I want to ask you, what was the big, we went through your little 3-4 month, time off for yourself. What did you find out? What was like the biggest thing that you found out about yourself, and you learned about yourself in that time you went in Utah? I want to ask you that.
I learned in Utah that, it's you. You're the one that has to change. I was just so pressured, and I had this mindset of like, frick, I gotta impress everyone and do what everyone says. But when I was in Utah, what made me happy was my independence. No one telling me what to do, and just figuring out like who I am. And I learned that I need to talk to my parents. I need to like actually have this conversation with them and let them know like how I feel and what needs to happen in order. Like, you want me here to help you, take care of it. I need them to meet me halfway. And I feel like that was the only way to make it work here at home. Is they need to meet me halfway. It's not at all like them telling me do this. Like, so that's the light that turned on at home in Utah, was like, my parents need to meet me halfway. Like, that's not fair, It's not fair to have them put all of this on me. And like, I can't live my life or do what I want to do, So they have this thing where they're like, hurry up and get married. Like, that was just the main thing. And I'm like, you want me to get married, but like, you also want me home to help you. Like, I can't do both, because once I'm married, it's all me and my other half. Like, I can't help you financially the way you need me right now. I can't help you guys like with helping the old people, my grandparents, and the way like my time is going to be spent elsewhere. Yeah. So that's what it was for me, and where I figured out that they need to meet me halfway, and the conversation wasn't going to happen on its own. Like, I needed to conduct a conversation. And it wasn't a full-blown conversation when I was here at home. It happened over time during COVID, when we're just having like conversation here and there. And I feel like they were picking it up. And now we're at a stage where, they're okay. They're more supportive. They're more understanding. So, and it wasn't just all them. I needed to be understanding as well. It's not a one-way thing. Like, I need to work with them and they can work with me. And that's where I learned that, I can't blame my parents. And a lot of the time growing up, I blame my parents, like, dude, it's your fault. Like, I can't even do what I want. Or like, in my head, that's what I was thinking. Like, oh, my mom is so and so, I can't even do this because of her. And I learned that I can't blame them, and I just need to understand them more so, instead of just understanding where they come from and why they're doing things the way they do.
Yeah. No, I love what you said. You said, you guys found a way to meet halfway, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's one of the root issues of why, because what you just talked about, that happens it happens a lot within our Polynesian community, right? Where parents will put so much pressure on the kids, and the kids end up leaving. And for some kids, they never come back.
They never do.
They never do, right? And a lot of parents,
there's pop-ups that come whenever. I was like, whoa, you're here.
All right. And then I hear a lot of parents like, oh, wait, that offer, don't want to support us financially, don't want to help us financially. And the one thing I want to say to everybody that's listening, like, when it comes to like relationship with people, it has to be give and take. It has to like, you guys have to work together and meet some common ground. Like, you can't just be one-sided, right? It doesn't matter if it's your husband, doesn't matter if it's your boyfriend, doesn't matter if it's a parent. If a person doesn't feel appreciated, doesn't feel valued, doesn't feel like they're heard, then they're gonna, like I said, when they feel too much, when they feel like it's overwhelming, they'll just leave. That's just our natural response as human beings when we feel fear, when it's overwhelming. Just like, I don't know if you heard the fight or flight response. You know, like we only have two options: either we fight it, we try to make it work, and if it's too much, then we just fight. The natural reaction is fight. We just leave because we have to protect ourselves. So, and that's it for a lot of parents. Like, you know, if you want to, I understand that, you know, I understand the common tradition where, like, okay, the daughters, usually the daughters, they have to like be they have to be the official caretaker.
Caretaking is the right word.
The official caretaker for the rest of the time, right? But I just want to put it out there. That's really unselfish to like want them to take care of it forever, because, you know, have you ever asked the question that, you know, she wants to find a husband, she wants to find love, she wants to live her whole life. Like, you know, people like our parents always focus on what they want. Like we just mentioned before, you know, the early discussion, they focus on what they want, but they've never taken consideration like, what do you want, right? And then for you, like, you just felt too much and you left. And then, like I said, you just acting how a normal person would act if you were in that situation. And like I said, every situation is different, but I just want to like to say to everybody out there, like, you know, everybody's situation with their parents is different. But one thing I do know is if you never value the other person and they don't feel valued, they don't feel appreciated, they don't feel heard, they're going to leave. It doesn't matter if it's a parent, it doesn't matter if it's a husband, it doesn't matter if it's a friend. If, like, when we are in situations where we don't feel appreciated and valued and heard, we're just going to go somewhere else. So, like I said, I think that's something that we just got to be more aware of, because I've had that in the Polynesian family, is like having like reciprocal open like relationships. Okay. Because I feel like sometimes parents, like, you know, they have the own mentality. You're my daughter. I own you. You own me. You own me, right? You own me. I own, like, stuff like there's some kind of master, you know. And I feel like, I say, we're all human beings, and I feel like sometimes parents take it too far, where they feel like that just because I'm your son or your daughter, that they we owe them everything in our life to them. And
they're so entitled,
right? Yeah, entitled. And for me, like, I know I had a great conversation about this topic right here with her name was Heta Hai. She was an older Tongan lady from shout out to Heta, but I think she's like in her 50s and 60s, and we talked about this. And she always said, like, you know, she said that as a lot of the problem with Tongan parents or Polynesian parents, they see their kids as helpers. You know, they see kids as helpers, but they don't see kids as an individual human being person. So all they see them is like the extension of what can they do for me. So look at their kids like, this is not a helper. This is not a helper. This is an individual person, and as a human being, right? But I do. So like I said, I do understand that standpoint. But I just felt like if you don't want to, like, it's for me, sometimes it is sad to see like kids separate and no longer communicate with their parents. But all I know is if you don't value the other person and give them respect and treat them, but I know sometimes, and treat even the kids like they're gonna leave. And for a lot of parents out there, like, I'm just saying, just talk to your kids, figure out what they want, show them, you know, ask them like, what do you want? And like, there's always a middle ground. That's one thing I do know. There's always a middle ground. You know, like, it's not always like one or the either. Like, you know, you can still support. You can still find a way to support your family and still find a way to support yourself. You know, and be happy. But sometimes they force you to choose. It's either you or me. And then if you choose yourself, then you're gonna be like outcasted from the family, and everybody's gonna, you know. But if you choose you, then you're like you're the perfect girl or whatever. So, but like I said, if you guys have any thoughts about this, drop some comments below. I would love to hear everybody's thoughts. But that's what I'll just say is we just have to be more respectful of one another as individuals and not see each other as like, you know, as being, especially kids, like Polynesian parents don't see your kid as just a helper. Like, no, that's an individual. She has her own goals and dreams. She has, and guys as well. We all have our own thoughts, our own minds, what we want to do for our life. And like I said, if you tap into it, you realize your kids will have a better connection with them, and you guys will be able to do things a lot more and bring you guys closer instead of like division, right?
Yeah.
because I see that a lot happening where like we're like I see this now in 2021. The Polynesian kids are more disconnected with their parents like ever. But yeah, any thoughts on anything you want to add to it before we move on?
Nope.
Nope. Well,
We're
thank
good.
you for thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing your life story. It was really, it was really good. It was really interesting, and like you said, I know a lot of people watching this right now. They can relate to a lot of things you said. So really appreciate the fact you shared it with everybody. But we do have some topics, by the way. We do have some topics. We're gonna talk about things that I feel like that a lot of people need to hear. So I'm ready to dive into these topics. I think a lot of the topics you mentioned already, we already covered it already when you explained your life story. I know we already talked about communication with family, with parents. Anything you want to add to that regarding the communication thing with your family and with your parents?
I would just say, like, everyone, like, make sure it's coming out of like love, because when you're coming to have this conversation out of resentment and blaming, it's not going to go anywhere. Just like your parents know, I understand you love me and I know you just want the best, but I need you to understand me and love me too, and like, just make sure that the conversation is a healthy conversation and not like a toxic one when you're like, well, you did this, well, I'm mom and I'm the dad, and then it just it goes nowhere. You're just arguing. So that's like just my last take on that topic, is communication with the parents. Make sure it's an actual communication instead of an argument.
Okay. Oh yeah. And then that's true. Like communication, open communication. We need more of open communication. So understanding both parents and the kids, because like I said, we don't communicate, we would never come to any kind of understanding. And then and then just like I said, just back and forth, and also leads to a lot of arguments. So that's something we definitely need more. But I do want to go on this topic. I know you brought it up, but the mix between religion and culture, and how that applies to our everyday life. So what's your thoughts on that?
The mix with religion and culture. And I'm only saying this because this is what I grew up with, and this is what was around me. And it's more so a lot of it, I think, what religion and culture, one topic that I want to focus on is like the whole Kava, drinking Kava thing.
Okay.
Because growing up, like, it was just, and it's been a problem in, I don't know anywhere else, but in the problem where in our ward where they try to put it out like drinking Kava is bad, I don't know, to our non-Mormon people, like, we have this thing called the word of wisdom, and it's like where you just don't take anything toxic, like, that's not good for your body, like drinking, smoking, whatever. But it's just the culture and the religion, like, there's the religion standard and there's culture standard. And growing up, everyone was just like, is it a culture thing? Like, are you a bad person if you're drinking Kava? Like, what's your thoughts on it? And I just feel like it's not in the handbook. It's not something that's standard in the church. And if you're not overusing it, then it's cool, like, as long as you're taking care of your family, as long as bills are being paid, and as long as everything is running smooth, like, there's no reason for bashing on this person for drinking Kava. And that's just my take. And then the whole religion and culture thing, it's just, it's good to keep it separate. And yes, they're one, but at the same time, it's don't mix the both. So I don't know if you have anything else to say to that, but that's just my take.
No, I want to take it a little bit step further. So I do understand that, right? So that's something I was here where the church identifies Kava as like, they compare it to alcohol, right? For me, like, I believe the same thing. I feel like for me, like, Kava, as long as you do it in a healthy way, So for you, it's like, to you, like you said, just to clarify what your position is, like, you're okay with Kava, or you're not okay with Kava?
I'm okay with it.
You're okay with it, yeah. You don't think it's something that's
I don't think it's something horrible.
Horrible. It's not like a bad substance. It's just the matter of discipline for the person.
Yeah, I feel like it's an outlet for some people. Like my dad, that's where he likes to go and chill with his boys. I would say, I don't know, but like that's where he's comfortable. He likes going. That's where his outlet. That's where his me time, his chill time. Is the drinking kava. And then when in our church, in our ward specifically, they're always like, they're always like, oh, he drinks kava, and I'm like, that's not a bad person, guys.
Okay.
It just, that's where my thoughts are. So I'm okay with kava as long as you're taking care of your family. Things are getting, you're not chilling with the toa, but like just make sure it's a healthy thing, and if your wife is okay with it,
The toas, man, the toas. Shout out to all the toas out there.
Kind of appreciative. Do your thing, man. Everyone has choices.
I'm talking about the healthy toas, the good ones, not
the good ones,
not the toxic, not the home wreckers. I'm not talking about the home wreckers.
That's crazy.
Let's talk about you. I am not talking about you. If you got my love, send that love back. I did not mention and give that to you. But
oh man, comments are open.
But no. So I want to ask you. I want to go deeper into it. Do you feel like there's other things besides kava? When it comes to religion, especially in the modern society, trying to live a modern life for you, are there other things besides kava? Do you feel like religion? You may feel like religion oversteps their boundary of this certain aspect in our society. But you feel like that should have been that has nothing to do with religion. This is something that you should be just doing for yourself.
No, I don't.
I'll give you a perfect. This is the
give
top.
me an example. Or
so this is the topic. I hear a lot of because this is what I hear a lot of women say, especially in the Mormon church, right? Where like, having sex before marriage, right? What you do in your personal time relationship. So, of course, in the religion, if a girl has, that's what they preach. Save yourself until marriage, right? But then if a woman has sex before marriage, you already know like she's going to be like shamed by society, by family, and a lot of women I talk about is like they always say, what, I feel like they're like who I want to give my body to is like my choice, and religion or like shouldn't tell me what to do. But I'm just talking about. That's one example, but talking about, do you have any other things that we do in today's society that may be seen as like normal? But sometimes a lot of people feel like that, religion kind of like it's too, I guess, has, this religion oversteps their boundary of what is normal, what's not normal. And that's, and especially for, a lot of Mormon girls out there like having sex before marriage. And and a lot of times like they feel like oh, and then the church or the community makes them feel like they're the worst. They're the worst women available. Don't talk. I've literally heard people say that when they find out about a girl that has sex before marriage, or they'll tell like don't be with her. Her values, she's no longer clean. She's her value is no longer good enough no more. She's like less than all the other girls who haven't had sex. So I'm just talking about those things, like how religion ties to certain things that we do in today's modern society, and how that and open up that conversation. So besides kava, like you said, people who drink kava, oh, that person's bad. That person is a bad husband, bad boyfriend, bad individual because that drinks kava, even though kava is a normal thing in our Tongan culture, right?
Right.
So I want to ask you
how many conversations have you had about the whole having sex before marriage? Like, have you had that a lot?
Yeah, I have that. I have a lot of guests on my show, and we talk about that. And some of them are Mormon, and some of them have had babies before marriage, and then like I said, but they're just like, and then everybody just like trashes them, all right, and then in their mind like, how can you? And it's just really hard for them to like, where with the pressures of these people that preach mercy, forgiveness, and love, but then I make a mistake, and then now everybody thinks my value as a woman is no longer. I'm no longer seen as a valuable woman.
Right.
And it's just really hard to like, yeah, it's really hard to deal with that in today's age. And they just feel like, look, this is what I wanted to do or whatever. But like it's based on your perspective, how you see things. So for me, I just want to open up the conversation for you personally. Like what are things in today's society that for you personally in your life, they feel like sometimes religion would say, nah, if you do this, you're absolutely like a bad person. But you feel like, no, but it's just like there's like the God, like, no, I don't think that. I don't think you're not a bad person if you drink Kava. Do you have any things for you personally that you see other things, other areas of your life based on your conversation with other your friends?
I would say the culture and that Mormon like concept about that specific subject of having sex before marriage is like they're the same. But there's this thing where, you know, you shouldn't be valued by that. People make mistakes. It's okay. And it's hard because, you know, some mothers look at their daughters like they're so trashy or like, oh, no one wants you anymore, you know? There's this image, you know, and then in the church, you know, they have that where like they teach us growing up in youth is like, you know, they always use the analogy of like if the mirror, the glass or the diamond drops and it shatters, you know, that's your self-worth, and then you try to put it back together, it's not the same. It's true, it's not the same, but then you shouldn't relate that to us women. Like we make mistakes, and then so now you're saying that we're not worth as much. You know.
A lot of people feel that way.
And they do, and it's hard and it's sad. And my light just went off, but it's okay. And it's sad because I don't think they should teach the young women to feel that way. They should because then what happens if it does happen? Then
no. What does? It will happen. We're all gonna make mistakes.
Yes, we're all gonna make mistakes. So then, anytime someone makes one mistake, then we're just like trash. So then we're not the same, and then you're gonna tell us that no one wants us anymore. Like, do you know how toxic and crazy?
Exactly.
And it doesn't help. It doesn't help. And then we just like, then you have girls that just go wild and like go crazy because like, you know, we're worthless anyway. So
we
might as well just go and have fun. And again, it comes to delivering the message, you know, like, and they don't explain that, you know, and if it does happen, it's okay. You know, we still love you. And as far as like the culture wise, you know, you do this whole white sheet thing. First of all, weird. Very uncomfortable. Like just hearing that, like, it's you in my business, you know. It's just that I don't know. I just think everyone should, you know, everyone makes mistakes. You should just love them regardless, and just continue to love them and teach them that, you know, life goes on. Don't dwell on it because it's not going to help you. It's not going to help you grow. It's not going to help you be happy. You're just going to sit on it, and then you're just going to be like thinking like life doesn't matter. So that's all I can think of. There's nothing else. I don't know. Culture and religion. It's just, and the Mormon religion, the cultural religion, and when it comes to the mix, it's just confusion. Or sometimes it makes no sense.
So I'm interested to hear your perspective. So if you had a daughter one day, right? How would you teach that to your daughter regarding like making mistakes, or regarding like relationship, like having sex before marriage? Like, what would be your message when you teach that to her?
Have an open relationship with her and let her know that these are things that's going to happen. And we don't have that in the community, in the Polynesian community. We don't have that open discussion about being sexually active and what happens when it's like something we don't talk about because it's awkward. So if I had a daughter, I'm open with her, and I tell her, like, you know, you shouldn't. I wouldn't want. These are the consequences that if it does happen, like, if you want to be popping babies at 16, like, that's your decision. You're gonna have to deal with it, you know. And just being safe about it and letting them know why it's not good to be having those activities before marriage, or why they teach us to value yourself,
Yeah.
value your virginity or whatever. So it just all comes to just helping her understand why, and then have her choose for herself. I mean, it probably will be hard, or I don't know. I don't have kids yet, so
yeah. Do you believe
how I would teach them.
Do you believe in waiting to marriage to have sex, or being celibate? What do you believe?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so. I believe it's a beautiful thing that you should wait to share with your other half that you love, and if it doesn't, I mean, what can you do, right? So
yeah.
I believe yes, waiting until marriage, but then people.
So it's something you practice now today.
No.
So
I mean, I believe in it, and mistakes happen. So here I am.
Yeah. No, I feel it. I feel it. Like I say, it's a beautiful thing, to wait, because I guess I've seen. I mean, the thing is, I've been there where like you see the worst case things when you have sex, and especially when you have sex with the wrong person. Especially now, it's 2021, STDs, all these things that come around. Like, there's a lot of, there's a lot of things that, so, if for me, if I have had kids, I would prefer them like, hey, look, I want you to wait till you're.
Yeah.
Want you?
I would suggest it, like, wait till marriage, but it's your choice.
But it's your choice. But these are the things like I said, teach them the why, prepare themselves, prepare them for so they can make the best choices for themselves. But I feel like you said, I think we talked about it earlier. Our parents never explained the why, right? They tell us to do something that, of course, do something that they've done already.
Yeah, right.
They did already. So like that only, and of course, like because we don't have this information, we just like, I'm gonna try it out, because like you said, as when you grow up, when you become like adolescents, that's when our hormones change. Like it's natural for us to feel sexual attraction to somebody else or the opposite sex. So like teach us about it so we can know how to control those urges.
Right. Can you help us understand?
Let me tame these monsters.
Or else we're gonna learn this from our friends.
Help us tame this. And
that's 200 grand babies. Like, come on.
And listen, if you don't help us, I'm just gonna go unleash it. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, so that's cool. All right, so yeah, I guess I could say communication, but yeah, I guess that's the biggest thing. That doesn't matter about religion. It is like we shouldn't judge people based on their mistakes. And yeah, we gotta stop living in this like this false sense of reality that we're gonna be perfect. Like that's something. I feel like that's not what religion it is. Like I feel like we need to be like teach the gospel, but at the same time be realistic also as well. Of our individualness as human beings, right? The one thing I love, whenever I hear somebody speak their testimony, or I hear somebody speak in church, I always love the people who are open, who they actually tell everybody, hey, I know maybe this person right now, but I used to do this, I used to do that. I really appreciate that when I hear that somebody speak like that. Especially they say I used to drink, I used to. I used to do drugs. I used to have sex, but the religion changed my life. I'm so happy that they opened that up to open the perspective for those kids to understand. Hey, you can still be a great individual regardless of your mistakes, because mistakes are part of life. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. But it doesn't define you. What we define ourselves is who we are. So that's a message we need to express more. And because I know there's a lot of kids out there, Mormon kids, like once they make a mistake, and they feel like it's over. Yeah, especially for women. I feel like for you guys, it's like for the men. I feel like
pressure is like tomorrow.
The lenient. I feel like men's more lenient, especially like we do have. Of course, there's double standards. We have sex. It's like that's what guys do.
Right.
Your priest holder is still intact.
Make it make sense, please. Make it make sense.
You can still a priest holder. It's okay. But if a woman gets to have sex, it's like, nah,
Oh, probation 6 months.
Hey, back up the church, please. Back up the. Oh yeah, well, but hey, yeah, that's just that's just the real life. So I feel like I mean I guess from our conversations regarding everything, I feel like less judgment. Um, it always it's always funny to me when I see church people like being like the worst critics or in judgment, and even though we learn about God, Jesus says love somebody else as much as you would love yourself. And the one thing I want to say is like like I don't. It's not our place to judge somebody else.
Right.
I don't think I don't know. I'm not the best when it comes to the Bible, but I mean, if I figure out, maybe you can give me some advice because you know the Bible more than me.
Someone said love one another.
all
I don't know.
All I know is like the only person I know that in the Bible that was allowed to judge was God. Right. That's the only person I saw was allowed. I don't have any recollection saying that anybody in this world has the authority to judge somebody else. Like it's not my responsibility to judge somebody's life. That's between that person and God. So when I see people, going through the struggle, I see people drinking, I'm like, all I can do is love, support them. Hey, I'm here for you, love you.
Right.
But regarding your consequences for your life, hey, that's not me to judge. That's between you and God. So I feel like maybe people need to understand that, it's not our responsibility to judge somebody else because we're all imperfect at the end of the day. All right, so we're gonna go into the next topic. We know, I know in the podcast we promote happiness, and we also promote love. Love, y'all. We promote love.
I love love.
We do promote love. I know a lot of people looking for love today, 2021. People are looking for love, need some loving. Or eat a lot of McLovin, McDonald's.
That's a different kind of love.
Yeah, and I guess the question I want to ask you, I know we were talking about it before the podcast, when it comes to love, the gender roles, the gender roles also, what Polynesian men are looking for, especially when it comes to women, being that traditional housewife. So I know that's something that you wanted to talk about, and we can dive into that. So, do you want to start it off?
Sure. So, I mean, the dating pool is like so much bigger now. You see a lot of Polynesian people with different races, and I feel like, but when it comes to like Polynesian men dating Polynesian women, they have this, because we all come from the same culture, they have this mindset or the standard where like you're the wife, especially when it comes to marrying a different religion. So like, you have they say, if you are two different religions and you're getting married, the wife follows the husband. That's what they do.
Oh yeah.
And I never understood
or the wife will like join his church.
Yes. Like the wife follows the husband and joins his church regardless.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
Yeah.
And I find an issue with that. Like if I'm Mormon and that's where I grew up in, and I want to stay rooted in that. And if I decide to date or marry someone that's out of the religion, out of the LDS religion, and it's, I don't know, Methodist, Wesleyana, or Tongan, or whatever it is, like I want there needs to be a line of respect. Like I will go to my church and you will go to your church, And I've talked to some people and they're like, no, you have to come to my church, and I'm like, that's crazy.
So you talk to guys, Polynesian guys, and that's their expectation.
And these are not like guys that I talk to. These are just conversations that I have with like people like, oh, what's your thought or what's your take on, like, and then they'll say like, she better follow me, it's that, like, I'm the guy, like they better come to my church, and I'm just like, I don't think so, but that's just hard, because then you have that. And then when people are married, like I have friends that are married to their husband, and they're like, oh, I have to do it. I'm like, well, where's your husband? They're like, no, because he's like very like, like the woman do this, that's my job. But like if you're married, it's a 50-50, you work together. I mean, we don't live in the time where we don't live in the time where your role is this and your role is this, like it's not the same. So it has to work together. And I don't agree with general, like you do this and you do this because you're the guy, you're the girl. Like if it works, it works. You figure out where your weakness is. You figure out where your strengths are. Let it work. And
Yeah.
if my strengths are working a 9 to 5 and making money, and my husband and my other half strength is better with kids than I am, then that's where it works. You know, you just make it work so that your family can grow in a healthy space.
Yeah. So most of the guys that you talk to, right? They all want a housewife.
Yeah, they have this thing where like you're a housewife, and I'm like, that's not me.
Okay.
You know? Like,
so for you, like you don't want to be a housewife.
I love children. I would be okay with the stay home.
Oh, so you be okay with being a stay home?
I'm okay with it, but when you say it like that, I'm just like that's gross. Like, you know,
no.
Like, why that mindset just is a turnoff.
What if the guy is just like that's what he wants? Like he's just being like authentic to himself. Hey, look, I want a housewife. I see you. I want to make it work with you, but he's just like, you know, he's just saying it like that's what he wants.
If he says, hey, I want a housewife, then you stay home with the kids and do that. But if you decide you want to work as well after the kids get old, that's fine. But then not the kind of like you stay home all the time, like you must be crazy. Like,
so like no, so as long as it's not like controlling, like, you know,
like the controlling part of it. I think that's what it is. It's like you're super toxic and controlling, like so demanding, like your ego, like who do you think you are?
Oh, okay.
It sounds so but yes.
So if a guy approached you, was like, hey, I want a housewife, but you know, like this, but you know, he won't control you. He's like, you know, you do your thing, but I want somebody to be at home, take care of the kids, and let me go do what, you know, be the breadwinner. You'd be cool with that.
Yep, I'm all down for that.
Oh, okay. So like, I want to ask you, like, do you have any like that's the thing, that's what I hear from a lot of women who are independent. Do you consider yourself like independent and strong?
Yeah, very much.
Yeah. But so you're independent. Oh, go ahead.
Let me grab my charger real quick.
It's all good.
Plug this in before it dies. Ask your question again.
No, yeah. So I do hear that's something I hear a lot of women, right? Especially the very independent, progressive type women, Polynesian women. You know, they are very strong, very open, very vocal, independent. But then Polynesian women, but then they say that whenever they go date a Polynesian man, they're always intimidated by them because they want them to be like submissive and be a stay-home wife. Yeah. So do you have a lot of friends like that say that, or like they're independent women, but they like the way they date these guys, or like Polynesian men, they always want, like you said, they always want somebody that's stay home and take care of the kids. They don't, you know, like they're not looking for independence. Do you see a lot of Polynesian women say that, or that's something you see?
I don't see it a lot, but I do have that conversation with one of my friends, my best friend. She's like, no, she's a go-getter. We're both go-getters, you know? We like to do our own thing, and we like to earn our own bag. And I think it's because we don't want to be told what to do with our money. We don't want to be told like how we should do things, you know? So like it's, I think that's just how we are and how we learned in this society, is just get your own, so that way no one tells you what to do. So when it comes to like dating a guy, like we don't want you to like tell us what to do. We don't want you to think you can boss us around, because it's a 50-50 thing. I chip my end, like I bring to the table just as much as you do. So like, who are you to tell me what to do? You know? But if we're in a good, healthy relationship and you ask me and tell me like, hey, can you, like, you know, don't be demanding. Like, don't do that. Like, don't look at us like we're just something to boss around. You know, that's what I think.
Do you feel like do you feel like you have you ever met guys and they feel like, and you just tell them they were like intimidated by you? Like, have you ever has that happened before or no?
Not that I know of. Nothing's been said to me. You know, like, and nothing that's been said to me. Sometimes I don't know. Never happened to me personally, or has anyone came to me and told me that. Anyone that I went on dates with and stuff like that.
Okay. So you just want a guy that comes in and because you want to be, because you, if you had to choose to be independent or be a housewife, what would you choose?
If I had the choice to be independent or a housewife,
yeah, be independent. You're the breadwinner of the family, and or you can or you just be at home and let the husband be the breadwinner. Like, what would you choose?
the housewife.
The housewife. Oh, okay, all right. So as long as like I said, for you, it's just a controlling aspect. Don't tell me this is what I need to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I just think that's very, I don't know. It's just, no. It's just strange to me. Don't tell me what to do.
Okay. What if a guy that's do you feel like some guy? I mean, don't you feel like some guys need some kind of control, or not? Or do you want a guy, or would you want a guy that has no control over you, like just lets you do your thing?
You know what? Because, and I think that's something that I need to change myself.
Yeah,
I'm just realizing that.
Yeah.
Crazy. He deserves that because he's a man of the house. Like, you're the breadwinner, and yes, like, I will. I won't be like, don't tell me what to do. Like, there's a line of respect. Like, if there's that line of respect, you don't tell me how to do my job. I won't tell you how to do your job. But then, like, I will respect you because you're the man of the house, because
okay,
you are my other half. I will be submissive to you and give him that ego that men need.
Okay, so I'm saying is, like, if you met two guys and one guy was like, I'm not like was another, like, he was really controlling, but not, I'm saying not controlling in a bad way. He's very, like, controlling. He knows what he wants, and then you meet a guy that he's not controlling. Like, he's very, like, he just very submissive to you. Very submissive to you. So one guy's like really dominant, like, I'm the man, ego, and but one guy is like very submissive. Like, he just submits everything. He just submits everything to you. Today they call it simp. You be a simp. So if you meet a guy that's a simp, he lets you do whatever you want to do. It's you, honey. You control it. You call the shots. You do everything. He just does whatever you say. Or you want to meet a guy like, hey, nah, you gotta do what I do. But I'm just saying, in a healthy way possible. What would you pick? The simp, or would you pick the guy that's like, hey, dude, I
want to be the shot caller.
So you might pick the simp?
Yeah, I'm picking the simp.
Is that the real answer? Like, you really want a guy that's just like no thoughts of his own, like no like.
Yeah, I'll be like, hey, my mom and dad need something, like, can go through their pooties, like, I got you.
That's interesting.
If I have a dominant guy, and then I ask him, hey, my parents need this. And
I'm not saying like just be too controlling, but he's gonna let, like, he's not gonna be like, oh, you can't do this. It's like, he's gonna let you know, like, dude, I'm the dude. But I'm saying he's not gonna be like controlling, but he will let you know when you meet him in the beginning, like, I'm that guy. Like, or would you rather a guy is like, hey, you like just know, you just walk all over him if you wanted, and he'll be okay with it. Like, which kind would you want? Would you want that?
See, now that you say it that way, I'm just like,
because there are guys like that. There are guys in life, like, right now.
There are guys.
Just let the woman
all over
and this is the funny thing. I've seen a lot of independent women, right, talk about like, oh, guys are too controlling, too dominant, whatever, and they'll go out with a simp, and then they'll leave the simp and cheat with the guy that was dominant. Right. So even though you say that the guy is too dominant, then you went over to sit. The guy was just like giving you everything you wanted and walk over, but that still wasn't enough. So I feel like, so these are things I hear. I'm just bringing it up. I'm just interested to hear, because I feel like when it comes to relationship, the relationship dynamic of us, like, the man, I believe in like masculinity and femininity. A man has to be a man, a woman has to be a woman. And when the perfect, not perfect balance, but the two that can find that balance between them, when the man can be the man and the woman can be the woman, and in a healthy way, that's when relationships work. I feel like when it becomes opposite, when the man's too feminine, simp, or when the woman's too dominant, too independent. And I'm not saying independent is a bad thing, but I think like when the woman is like too to like acting like the man, I feel like that's when it's hard when the relationship doesn't work, because I feel like I believe in the creator created us exactly the way we were to fit. The man to be the man, the woman. Right. And every single time I've seen I have a lot of women that are independent, strong, vocal, speak their mind, takes no shit from anybody. Hey, I respect that. But I just want to let you know that if a guy meets it, he feels like you're too much of a man. They're like, no, I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, that's all. I don't need that. You know what I'm saying? And then right. Also, but then I see that a lot of men like that are trying to get women. They have a hard time getting women, but they're like very feministic, very feminine, very, and they're always getting friend zoned and always getting played by these women. I'm like, yo, I was like, you gotta be a dude, you gotta be a man, and then that's what I see. So I believe that today's culture today, that that's nothing wrong. The roles have switched, where women are being too independent, and then because you know how many friends I know that are entrepreneurs, have their own business, beautiful. I'm talking about beautiful, attractive women, but they struggle to find. A lot of them want a Polynesian guy, and a lot of them struggle to find a Polynesian dude, and they want to marry Polynesian. And I always have to tell them, like, look, you're giving off that man energy. You're independent, but I'm just saying is for most Polynesian men, like they're used to the being masculine. So like, I'm just saying is don't be yourself. But
I see where you're coming from. I see what you're saying now. I see what you're saying now.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on? What do you like for you? What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on that is be very independent. But like again, there's that line of respect. Like your other half is the man. So we also like respect them because they're the man of the house. Yeah. I'm independent and like I like to do things the way, and I don't like things, but I'm not gonna walk over my simp other half because I know I can. Yes, he's simp and he's very soft or whatever. And if I have the power to walk all over him, me personally, I'm not gonna do that because that's so disrespectful. First of all,
so you like So you prefer the guy that's more emotional, and then like the guy's very emotional, very open and
not very emotional. I don't know if I can be emotional. More so like on the side. I don't know how to explain it.
Because simps are emotional.
Well, now you got me like.
No, simps are emotional, but all in their feelings. That's why you're
all in this. Right. Okay. But I just say like, don't walk all over them. Like, what is he doing? You won't walk all over. But is that you would? If you had a guy that's like strong. I'm not talking about controlling, but there's guys out there just like, they're very masculine. Look, this is what I want. This is my woman. But like, I'm not telling they're not controlling, but that's what they're going to give off to you. Would you prefer that, or would you just prefer with the simp? I just rather prefer with the simp because I feel like I'm so like, this is what I want. This is what's going to happen. This is what I'm going to do. Like, I feel like there's going to be a balance, because if I have someone that's like very like, this is what I want, and then I'm over here like, no, this is what I want, and this is what I'm going to do. So for me personally, like I don't want that, like, because I just know it's not gonna go well. I work more better with guys that are like simp. So that makes sense. So I guess it just depends on the lady.
All right, I guess all my simps out there, it's your shot.
I hate you. You're funny.
All right. Well, okay. I also wanted to hear
How
that.
about you? Let's hear it. What about you? Do you want the strong, independent woman, or do you want the simp woman, where you're the strong, independent one?
No. I want a woman to be independent. I want a woman that can be independent on thinking. I don't want somebody that thinks like me. Like I like open conversations and where we can challenge each. I like somebody that can challenge me. And I don't. If somebody likes what I like, then they're just gonna be like always agree. I don't want somebody to always agree what I have. Like I want somebody to disagree and be cool with it. And because that way we can like really, really challenge each other spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, everything, right? But for me personally, I am looking for like, I'd rather just be the breadwinner. Let me do my thing. You stay at home. if you stay at home and take care of the kids. Like it's and also like I know it's 2021. If you want to start your little business, whatever you want to do your thing, yeah, I'll support you.
Right.
But I don't want to get to a point where like I have to stay at home and take care of the kids and affect my career, what I want to do. There's a lot of things I want to do for my life, things for my career. I want to find a woman that just like lets me do my thing and they're cool with it, and they can just take home the kids and take it to handle the family stuff, the family business, and let me just do my thing, and I'll come home and give them any support, whatever she needs from me. That's what I'm looking for. So, yeah,
that's cool. It's cool that you mentioned that because it just reminded me of my my auntie, my uncle. She got like 5 kids, and she's like at home and she's working all the time, taking care of the kids. And her husband is the one that's out like working like all day, every day, running his business or whatever it is. But then what I've noticed is that she's like a big supporter. So I think it's good, when your relationship like supporting each other and helping each other do so. I mean, the relationship is great. They're financially great.
Yeah,
so,
and I'm not gonna control it. Like she wants to go out, have fun, and do her stuff, or there's a project she wants to do. I'm not when I say housewife, I don't mean like stay at home. I don't want people to think I'm a slave. No, I just prefer to like I take up the responsibility at home, but it's 2021. Anything she wants to do, for choices she wants to go have fun and stuff. Yeah, do your thing. But I just want that responsibility as far as kids to be taken care of by her. Yeah, and I don't want to deal with that. Not because I don't love my kids. It's like I just prefer like let me do my thing.
Yeah,
let me do my thing, and then you can take care of that role, and then we just work it out, and that's it. Cool. I don't want the traditional housewife and staying home because I do like some spice.
Right.
I want you to challenge me. I want you to rise up sometimes. So I do like that. I don't like the traditional just one. I like a woman that like no, she wants to take care of the kids, but also she has her own thoughts and things, and we can just challenge each other. So that's what I'm looking for. So, but it's good to know. Now for the guys, I'm interested in when you date one day. I'm like, will I see on your profile pic? I'm like, oh man, that's the same right there.
That's crazy. I'm gonna be off social media.
And when you do get married, hit me up so I can come meet your husband. I'm like, hey, what's up?
Oh, don't do that. Then pull up this interview. And we'll pull up this interview or this part, this section of the interview.
So I'm just joking. I do want to ask. I know one of the topics you mentioned was like commitment when it comes to dating, and I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with today, and that's like an open topic. That's one thing I always hear. People always, for men and women, it's like commitment is no longer something that's issue now, even though that's something that we all crave as human beings. Like we all want commitment from each other, but now the culture today. Is no longer commitment is an issue now. So what are your thoughts on that? And what do your friends say? Like guys no longer being committed, women, men and women both like no longer wanting to be in committed relationships. They just want the relationship. No, they just want the fun of having a relationship, but not the commitment.
They want everything that has to do with the relationship, but not the commitment part.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or the title.
Yeah. So what's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on that is, boy, it's a struggle today.
And also ask you, like, is that something you see from a lot of guys you meet or have tried to date? They don't want the commitment. They don't want the commitment.
A lot, and I'm not gonna lie, like that's me sometimes too. Like, it's just like I'm single, but I'm not single. But yes, I am.
Yeah.
Like which one is it? Like I want you, but I don't want you, but I don't want to be your girlfriend. Like, but I want you. Like it's just what's wrong with us? I don't know. I know I'm not the only one. And it's just hard because then now you have like social media, because then now you're like, oh, who else are we talking to? Or, and sometimes people are scared. Like it's scary for this commitment, and for me personally, because like I'm so used to like these in and outs of these relationships, like we're not committed, but we talk here and there, like it's just in and out. And then when it comes to an actual person that's ready to like give the commitment, it's like I don't know how to take it. I'm not used to that. I'm used to the not being committed, and we're a couple, but we're not a couple. So it's and it's so confusing and it's so hard, and I don't know why it's like that today. It's just crazy, but my take on that is the commitment part is just scary, and I think everyone's scared. A lot of people are scared. I'm scared because I've been hurt before, and I don't want to go through that again. So I just like to put this ego like, I don't care, but really inside I'm like, I do, and I'm crying. That's my take on that. It's just everyone's scared. A lot of people are scared. I'm not saying everyone, but a lot of people like I am. You know.
Yeah. I think that what I see. One thing I do know is no matter who you are, sometimes something I always hear from a lot of men and women. I don't need guys, I don't need girls. Right. There's something I always hear, but I know for a fact, like deep down, it doesn't matter what you say. Everybody wants to find love. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to find love. Everybody wants to have that partner. Nobody wants to live their whole life by themselves. That's a fact.
No. Okay, that's a fact because that's lonely and it's hard because especially for those that work by, like you see them, but.
All right. Nobody wants to live their life by themselves. And also then I also believe that's why we weren't created. God created us to be together. That's why, mm-hmm. We're just going against the purpose of our creation. We were meant to, man, woman, get together. But yeah, I think for me, the way I see it, the reason why commitment is no longer, a lot of people don't take commitment seriously. I think it's just the culture that we're in. Because back then, if you think about it, back then in the old days, like you think about it, when you got married, everybody knew what that meant. I mean, I'm sorry. When you dated someone, when you pursued or courted a girl back then, everybody knew what that meant. That you're trying to marry.
Right.
So back in the old days, all society, like if you wanted a woman or talked to a woman, everybody knew that based on the culture, that's what marriage meant. Also, I think that's what a lot of women are looking for. They wanted to get married, right? So when a guy was pursuing a woman, they knew that that's what you guys wanted. Marriage was like, okay, I gotta get married to this woman. But I feel like because of culture and how we progress nowadays, I feel like nowadays, like, because back then, like what the path was, like what culture was telling us: get married and then build your life, right? Now in today's culture, like it's the opposite. It's like live your best life, party, career, live your independent life, and then get married after.
Right.
So, and I feel like because of the changing culture, that's why people see. That's why I feel like a lot of people are not looking for marriage no more in the beginling, in the early 20s, mm-hmm. especially for men, because that's what we see now in the culture. Like that's the movement now for ladies, go live your life, be a career, do your thing first before getting married. And then as men, we just respond. We just play go with the flow with what you guys are doing. Okay, so a lot of you guys want to turn up and have fun and have sex and do your thing. All right, shoot, mm-hmm. We're gonna do the same thing.
Like we in there too.
Yeah, and then we'll get married later. And I feel like that's my personal opinion about how I see it. And because and that's why I feel like nowadays a lot of people don't want to get committed no more. And the people that do get committed, the good people and the good men and women, they're looking for men. They get married early, right? Really, really early. So they're gone. So the women and the men that went through the phase of like turning up and living their life, as they get older, the market is really, really small to find those people who are still committed, because all the good guys that wanted to get married, they're already tied up now.
Right.
And all the good women are already tied up as well. But I feel like it's a more pressure on you guys, because for men, I feel like we don't have a biological clock, because we know we can still get married to younger women.
Yes. My brother said that he said something. He's like, men marry when they want, and then women marry when they can.
Yeah.
So
it's the opposite. It's opposite within, like, it's the same thing with sex, right? Women have sex with what they want. Men have sex with who they can.
Yeah, and whoever they want and can.
Yeah, right. But when it comes to marriage, it's different. Like we marry who we want, but women marry who they can. But the thing is, for a lot of men, we don't have a biological clock because we know we can still be in our 30s and 40s and still marry girls in the early 20s. But for you guys, is when you get older, then you know that, oh shoot, I have to get married now.
Like shoot, time is cramming. Like,
and most guys want younger.
Yeah. Most guys want younger girls. So like,
yeah.
Whatever.
So it's tough. And of course it's hard. Even if you get older, it's tough to. It's really, really tough to find a guy that's the same age as you, even if you're older, that's not fucked up.
Yeah, and then you have these boys. They're like, "Wait, you're almost 30 and you're still single and not married. Like,
what's wrong with you?
Why? What's wrong with you?" So like that's the thing, and like, boy.
So
my parents are probably thinking that right now. Like, you can be that weird 30-year-old that's never gonna get married. Okay.
No, I'm just saying is I know. So that's the dilemma. That's the struggle nowadays. I feel like personally, I feel like it's harder for women because you guys have that biological clock, and for men, I just feel like for me, like for men, like I never feel that way. Like, oh, like my time is running out.
Right.
So that's a fear. Like, that's a fear of commitment nowadays. Like, because everybody's like, damn. Everybody's like, okay, we because everybody now is like no longer. It's a very few. I think for me personally, I hear that from a lot of men and women. Like, no one wants commitment no more. I think me personally, like I know a lot of men, a lot of us, we want commitment. It's just like this is that fear. I think the problem is like we're just so afraid to be vulnerable to somebody else because we're afraid. Okay, if I want commitment, they're gonna run away, and we don't really actually try. And it's like both. It's like say two people come together and they both have that fear of commitment, even though they both want commitment.
Right, but they're both scared, so it's never gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly. So because both of them never show their full love, their full effort, nobody's really committing, then that's why it never goes anywhere. But I feel like because I hear that all the time. It's like I have a lot of friends that they want commitment, but they're afraid of women not being committed. I know a lot of women that want commitment, but they're afraid that men commit because everybody's living in fear. I feel like we just need to stop being afraid of if you meet somebody, just let it be known. Like, look, I want you, I need you, I want to commit to you, and also like love yourself first, so you know how to love somebody else. So you can recognize the red flags when you can see that okay, this person's not really loving me the way I should be loved, and so that way, you don't waste time with people. Yeah. Because I feel like if you want to, like, this is what I always tell people: if you want to show somebody's commitment, put that pressure on them. Yeah. Right. Like if you really want commitment, don't be afraid to put that pressure on. Look, I want commitment. I just want to need for you. I want to love you. I want to appreciate you. And when you put that pressure on them, the people that don't want commitment is going to fold. Yeah. And the people that really want commitment, what's going to happen? They're going to embrace it. Yeah, they're going to be like, oh, shoot, this is what you want? Okay, shit, this is what I want too. Oh, no. Come. It's hard. Right? But like I said, that's my advice to everybody. I mean, that's my personal opinion. Like I said, put that pressure on them. Let them know, look, I want commitment. I'm trying to get married. I'm trying to have kids. I'm trying to build a life. What's up? Yeah. And then I'm telling you, if you give them that vulnerability, like that wall that a lot of women have, it's gonna come down because, oh my God, this is what he really wants, and then they won't be open. Oh, you know what? That's actually what I want too. But everybody's just like being fake. Yeah, they are. That's so true, and I hope everyone that's listening to this takes that advice because, like, dude, just be straightforward, and you never know what's gonna happen. Yeah. So that's my thoughts on that. But that's that's a good conversation. Thank you, Will. Thank you. At least I can do. Like you said, everybody out there is going through the struggles. That's what I believe. Like we just everybody's like have this fear. You can't live your life off fear. Just like be yourself, be authentic. And if you really want a commitment, that's my advice to everybody. Just put that pressure on that person, and that way it's so you don't waste your time like 6-7 months or a year later. They realizing like they don't want commitment. Put that pressure in the beginning, but in a nice way. Don't like, hey, I want. No, be loving, but then like find a way to easy to put it in there in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then if they're cool with it, no. If they're not, that way you just move on to the next person and don't waste your time. So, but yeah, I think with the last thing I want to ask you real quick before we end off to close up the podcast, I just want to talk about success. And I just want to ask for you, like, what does success mean to you? And for you as a Polynesian, like, what are the things you see with Polynesians trying to find that success in their life?
I would say, like you said, wealth and health, and just success and growth within your family and within everyone. Love and growing to be the best you. Growing to be the best you and finding who you are. And a lot of us Polynesian women go through a lot of struggle. It's the demands and the responsibility and the expectation that they have for us. And I just want to let all the Polynesian women know, like, you can do it. I'm here with my parents and my grandparents. Do I want to be here? No, but this is what I chose, and I'm going to make the best out of it. And just try your best in everything and try to be better, and to end the cycle, the toxic cycle in the Polynesian community. Communicate and make sure everything's coming out of love. So yeah, and thank you for this opportunity and this podcast. It was good conversations. It was fun. So
yeah,
shout out to Will.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. The one thing I just want to add on to what you said, at the end of the day, I want everybody out there to live their best life, to find love, find happiness, find success. That's what I promote in my podcast. Completes the circle of life. Circle of life. You ever heard Mufasa talk about Lion King? That circle of life. That's what I mean. But the one thing I just want to say to everybody, no matter what you went through, I just want to say, like, we just gotta take responsibility for our life and stop blaming and that's a hard thing of life. Like, every life is hard, life is difficult. We all go through our own shit in life. But at the end of the day, like you said, you have a choice to do something about it. So what happens to you is how you respond to it. So for my Polynesians out there, I just want to say this with so much love. Like, stop complaining. Stop blaming other people for your problems. Stop putting that pressure on your parents, on your family, whatever. It is what it is. But we can't control what happens to you. That's life. Shit happens. But we can always control what we do. So that's something I just learned myself. I have my family. I have my own shit with my family. We all do the ups and downs, but I never blame my family for how I'm going to live my life or how my life's going to turn out to be. That's my responsibility. So once you get to that mindset, hopefully I'll say that with love.
Yep.
But that's just real life and the reality we live in. You got to make your life, make the best life for yourself. So that's why I say thank you so much, Moana. Thank you for a great podcast. I really appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time to do this. And I just want to, one thing I always ask every guest at the end of the show, just share some final thoughts, and we'll close off the podcast with that. So any final thoughts you want to leave everybody, or final words of wisdom from the Pafikao, and we'll end up. We'll end up with that.
Yeah. Live your best life. Live your truth. Be who you are. Find who you are, and who gives a fuck about what other people say. Just don't give a shit. Because your opinions won't help you get to where you want to be.
All right. Malo Bito. Malo, return missionary. Thank you.
Period.